Right, I think it's Thursday morning. New video. What are we on today? I bought a 906. I don't normally buy 906s because I'm not the world's greatest of fans, but it is a Mercedes and I like Mercs. So I am currently, as you can see, sat in a, I think she's 2013 long wheelbase iTop 313. Blue Tech one. Came in from a customer basically because they was cheerfully driving down the motorway and it stopped. It appears to have seized itself. Absolutely solid, for no particular reason. That's 145,000 miles, but it is a clean one previous owner van. I'll have a wander around it in a minute. It's got quite a lot of options. It's even got aircon, which would have been handy on a day like this, but in fact it doesn't go, and it is melting, honestly melting. Oh yeah. So we'll have a quick look round it. It's got a few dings, a few marks, nothing that couldn't be sorted, and obviously a well seized 651. We have got it to a point where you can get it to turn with a bar, but there's obviously something nastily wrong in the bottom end. It's full of coolant, it didn't have the wrong fuel put in it, it's got diesel in it, and it's full of oil, so we can only assume, I would say, most likely oil pump failure. So I'll give you a tour of it now, and then we'll go on a bit of time lapse, and I am going to very quickly whip the engine out of it, because the nice thing with these newer shape Sprinters, they are actually even easier than older shape Sprinter. The old front comes off, and you can pull an engine immensely quickly, as I'm sure a lot of people have proved when they left their house in the morning a few years ago. These things, if you parked it outside your house overnight, it's nothing to come back in the morning and find someone had pinched your engine. There's a reason for that, because they were really easy to get out. Right, onward. We'll spin this round and we'll go and have a look at the rest of this thing. My top quality purchase. Here we go. I've already pulled the grill and the number plate out of it. I made a start. But 2013, blue efficiency, so it's the one that turns itself on and off all the time. Long wheelbase, 313. She's pretty clean actually, apart from a few. We've got a bit of a mishap there. They belong to a marquee company, so we've got some dents along the side of the roof out here that will come out, but panel wise it isn't too bad. Let me just turn around by the C-Class. That could be a bit of an issue. I've had one of those ladder based reversing incidents, so we'll have to put a door on it, I think, because I think that's past the saving. Tow bar, bit of a dinger in that door, and then this side, as you see, she's pretty straight. Big rhino roof rack on it, rear ladder, tow bar. 145,000 miles, some service history, armour plates on the doors, and not even particularly bad in the cab. Seats are nice and clean, as you can see, and it doesn't smell and it isn't beat up, so we viewed it as worth the repairing. So we have in here the lovely OM651 of doom. If I was feeling a bit more timey, we'd put something more exciting in there, but let's be honest, I think probably just as a sales vehicle, most people aren't going to want a 606 or a 648 wedged in it, so we're going to be sensible. My plan this morning is I'm going to pull this, hoik it out, I'll upturn it, have a look, see what it died of. I have got another one sat here that runs out of a very similar aged van. So I'll make my mind up as to whether repair this one. The other one, and it ran fine when it came out of the van was damaged. But we will on the other one, just before we put it in, might as well have a look at the bottom end, just check the oil pump's in nice condition and the shells are good and all that, because no, you wouldn't want to fix this, sell it to a customer or sell it to anyone with 145,000 mile van, let's say with a 200,000 mile engine in it that you hadn't checked. So it's all relatively simple, and what I'm going to do now is we'll whiz this front bumper off, pull the slam panel, and get into hocking this engine out, and then upturn it and see what killed it. Right, fine. Right, via the bell housing bolt, we are ready to go. And I don't reckon this is its first rodeo either. I would have thought by some of the bolts and the fact that These engine management computers have shear-off bolts to stop you stealing it on the top clamp. They've already been taken out. That this is not its first engine change, which is pretty shocking for a 145,000 mile van. But anyway, 651s, they are rubbish as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea or a big cold drink because it's melting out here, and then come back. There's no point videoing taking the bell housing bolts out, it's not very exciting, and we'll get a crane or a forklift or whatever we can in here and lift her out. Right, so we got, obviously, exhaust is unhooked, we left that hanging there, left the DPF sensors attached because it's easier. I'll put a gearbox with it because why struggle trying to put a gearbox in under a truck to an engine when you could do it and slide the whole lot in this one. So gear cables are out there, down there, engine mounts are off, and as you can see, we are pretty much ready to roll. I mean, nice thing with the way these designed, so you can pull the big ECU and all the engine electricals, one plug. If you go back to the battery compartment, which is under the in front of the passenger seat, you can actually pull the main starter motor lead, drag him out as one, unclip him from the bottom. We degassed the aircon earlier, so the system's empty, pipes pulled off, fuel lines pop off down the back there, and we are pretty much ready to roll out. So I'll go and stick this back over here on its tub, and then we'll go back to some more time lapse. Right, so here we go. 1651 twin turbo Sprinter engine. It's gone, well, pop. So don't reckon it's its first rodeo, because I definitely didn't undo any of these, and we've got some definite mankiness going on here. So I think due to it's about 3,000 degrees out here today, I'm going to whip this inside, drain the oil, turn it over, and then also whilst I'm here, we'll TFR this thing to death. Might as well steam it all out under here and make sure that we put back into a nice clean engine bay. It's obviously got a fairly serious oil leak down there, and we'll make sure we put back together a really nice clean truck rather than a dirty one. Right, so we are sump removed, and I'm pretty sure, I reckon it's number 3 big end, did look like it was slightly blued off. Excuse the dangling off an engine crane. So obviously we've got that's the top half of the sump, basically the bottom engine cradle, and there's this plastic cover goes on the inside, and obviously then the main sort of sump itself with the oil reader. Gearbox is off on the floor. On some upsides, that the clutch and jaw mass flywheel are absolutely brand spanky, and on the upside for one of these, it hasn't poked hole in the block, which makes it an awful lot more useful. So I am going to whip this out quickly. Right, so sump's obviously off. I've just laid the engine over on its side, and as you can see, I think we've got what could be described as a bit of oil pump failure. That's not very nice. There's a big lump of viewer. Let me find the camera. Look at that. So a large lump of metal came out of here where the shells had sort of slightly started to melt, I reckon. I mean, the crank's probably salvageable with a polish. It depends what damage has been done. I mean, these shells here are, as you can see, actually stuck to the journals and spun. So this one is quite nicely welded on. Where's my pry bar? Also with a bit of extra leverage, if we can actually get it to separate, because there it goes. I think it had become one with the crank. So yeah, that's died, isn't it? It's actually got so hot. If you look on the back here, you can see it started to bow over on the corner. So not only will have that gnaws the crankshaft up, I reckon you'll find this poor big end here, this poor conrod here will be done as well. I don't think it would have survived. I'll just put the caps back on a minute and we'll spin it over and see what happened to the others. But I mean, it isn't just one cylinder failed, it's obviously starved itself of, well, not starved itself of oil. I reckon the oil pump's failed because there's nothing in the strict pickup strainer that isn't metal that's leapt out of this lot. So can't fix servicing, just typical OM651. Absolute rubbish in my opinion. You'd never get this from an earlier Merc engine. But I'll keep faffing and fiddling, and then we'll see what the rest of the journals look like in a minute. And I might get later, I won't do it in this one, we'll do it in the next one. We'll just knock this engine back plate off, and it would be interesting to see what the mains bearings look like. Well, we popped the shells out of cylinder 1, and I don't think they're any better, let's be honest. So definitely oil pump failure. Can't be anything else. It's done everything. It does still seem to have some description of compression, and the pistons are free. But we'll get into when I get 5 minutes. We'll do it later on in the week. Will be interesting to see what the camshafts look like. They may not have taken as much of a pounding, but I'm not terribly keen on it. I think that is it's a very large and expensive boat anchor, basically. Leave this one here for the night because that is officially at its day. I've got another one. I'm going to say I'm quite tempted to strip the other one before I attempt to put it back in and make sure that we might even pay for a new oil pump and a new set of shells to make sure she's pucker. So Mercedes OM651s, don't know about you, but I think they're rubbish. It's 145,000 miles. That's not good, is it, really? I've got a 313 around the back that's done 595,000 miles. It's a 904 and it's still going strong. Just shows these days things are not built to last. I mean, that is just rubbish. Anyway, I will leave you on this note, and what we'll do, I'll get the other one out and we'll get some parts ordered, and then I think what we're going to try and do, we're going to have to put one of these in, because to be honest I haven't got time for, even though I am considering it, 606 conversion. It's a bit going backwards in it, really. I'd love to put a 648 in it, but let's be honest, saleability wise is probably going to be a bit difficult. It would be fun, don't get me wrong, but I think I'm going to actually end up to the state where if I want to sell a quite nice, reasonably straight 13 plate van or 63 plate van, I really ought to put one of these pieces of chocolate that works as well as you can make it work back in it, so that it is what it is. Anyway, I'll edit this up. I'll chuck this one on, so it's going to be a shorty. But yes, we'll just leave that pile of junk there for the night. Right, people, like, tag, share, follow, subscribe, all that junk, and we will catch you later.